Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Valagar Aloevain. Alright, so for this one here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pick up the rest of the quest here that we can pick up. And there's a reason for that. Now, what happens is most people pick them all up at once. That way it does stop them from having to come back after each part that they complete. Minus the one quest, which is Fire Caves. It's the only one that you have to come back, talk to the guy to head back out to complete. And I'll show you a path that most people take. I know it's the one that I personally take. So as you can see, there's a whole lot of quests out here. And you'll also notice that there is a cup on the map right here from Blood Eye. You can actually pick up a quest from him. What happened is this used to be out in this area. There used to be like a Slayer area, and this guy was one of the quest givers. However, since this is no longer part of the Slayer area, and that's an older fact, so it used to all just be contained within the quest givers were all at the same locations, minus Blood Eye here, and yeah, so you would just be out in the Slayer picking up these quests or the wilderness area. So don't worry if you're looking on your map and you see his cup. He's not actually tied to a quest anymore. Alright, so from here all we need to do is select the door, step on out, and now this will be the Slayer area here. Now as you can see, the quests on the map here, this is a fairly large area and the quests are fairly spread out. There is one quest here that is grayed out. This one here is for an epic only dungeon, so we will get to that once we are in epic levels, as they do have an epic version of Three Barreled Cove. But for now, obviously we are not leveled to do that one, so we're just going to skip it just for now. Alright, so the first thing I want to point out is when you do enter, you have this gentleman here, Corey Seagrass. Now, what he can do is he can actually teleport you to all these quests, but only once you've completed them. So if we try to go to A Legend of Two-Toed Tobias, you know, it's not going to work. As he says, try again, tell me a place you've been before. So once you've gotten there, you can just talk to him and he'll port you back. So that definitely was a nice feature that they added in. Definitely saves a lot of time. So the first quest we're going to do is actually right below that ship there. Now, most people, they just jump off the cliff. If you don't happen to have Featherfall, you can just kind of slide down the cliff there. As long as you hug the cliff face wall, and your feet never leave the ground, you'll actually be good to take no damage. So here's our first quest. It is an underwater entrance, though don't worry, once we get in we're not having to continue swimming, so it does kind of put us in this little pocket of air. The first bit though, we do got to swim a little bit. Before we do that, I am gonna summon my hireling. Alright, so first things first, we gotta head north just a touch, and then east, up the hole, and there we are. Now we're back finally on dry land. Right here at the little four-way, it does have some bats. They drop down from the hole in the ceiling, so just be aware. Again, not so you're caught off guard. They can be really annoying. Truthfully, I hate bats. Not in real life, but in this game, they're just a pain in the butt to hit. Alright, so from here, our first way that we have to go, so obviously we can't go west, we actually have to head north first, so a little bit more swimming, but honestly there's not a lot of swimming. As you can see, we can already stick our head up. Once we get to the end of the hall here, we just gotta swim down.
Explore.
So there's a collectible. And then further east. Again, we can pop our head up. And just underneath here, there is a valve. We need to pull this valve. This lets us progress. Once that valve is pulled, we just head back to the beginning there. So quests like these, if you do have any type of underwater action, such as like a bottle of air, or even the Pearl of Sirens, if you're lucky enough to get your hands on one of them, they'll definitely help you in here, especially if you are wearing heavy armor and did not put any points into swim. So some tips for that is, if you are wearing heavy armor or even medium or light armor, and you're having just a little bit of trouble, you could take them off. The heavier style armor, so light, you'll only lose you only get a couple of points back. Medium, you'll get a couple more, and then if you're wearing like a full plate, you'll get the most points back to your swim. But again, it does depend on what your swim score is as well. Alright, so down the tunnel here to the east, as you see, we do have a few enemies that decide to poke their heads up as you are running. Now that's a common theme in this quest and in the next quests as well. So just another short swim. So we can actually pop our head up right here. But what I do want to show you is heading off to the east. This is the direction we need to go. However, as you see, there are traps, as well as those are air jets pushing you back. So first we need to head west. And in here, there will be another lever at the bottom. This lever, however, is actually trapped. Now the trap box for it is up top here. This tiny little platform. So we're just going to grab that quick. And all it does is it drops some of the spikes there from the roof down on you. So it's not that, honestly, it's not that dangerous to pull the lever even without getting the traps if you don't have access to a trapper. However, if you are doing Three Barrels Cove, I highly recommend bringing a trapper. As you can see here, 15,000 experience. So a lot of experience to be had out here, and there's one quest that is almost required to have a trapper. And that's actually coming up in the next couple of videos, so stay tuned for that one. It's actually one of my favorite quests out here. These quests have been around for quite some time, and have actually gone through an update. It used to be much harder to get through these ones, as well as the experience wasn't nearly as nice as it is now. They did go back and upgrade that, knowing that a lot of people didn't run this because they were difficult quests at the time, not really worth the effort and the experience put in. Alright. So what I want to point out here is this room here specifically. There's actually going to be a gate that drops down. I believe it drops down like here, but I'm not entirely sure exactly where it drops. But once you come up to the top, and this gate drops, that's when the other one drops as well. And what happens is it spawns in an ambush of skeletons. Now these skeletons, they do come in waves. So you defeat the first wave and do the second wave, so on and so forth. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to summon my turret. Alright, so first wave it was just some weak ones. Second wave they're a little stronger. It does have some up and above. We also got a Carnage Reaper with this group. Alright, Alright, and once you defeat that second wave, the third wave is our final wave. So it just has the last of our enemies here. As well again on the ramp. Now once everyone is killed, so not just the named, it will open up our door to continue deeper in. And unfortunately, he doesn't actually give us a chest for killing that optional. Though it wasn't really an optional. Alright. Alright. So this first room here, he does mention that you see a slight breeze. There actually is a shrine hidden behind the, or shrines, sorry, hidden behind the wall. If we continue a little bit further east, again it does do another pop-up, here we go, ambush. Now there are two directions to go. The direction that we have to go here is south. However, what I always do, just to make it a little easier on myself, is I actually finish heading east first, right up until the end here where the ladder is. Just to clear the path for myself. And if you actually hug the left wall here, it does bring you all the way up to a mushroom. Now I do want to point out these quests are a little bit different on heroic than they are on elite, or in epic, sorry. So we will be revisiting these quests again once we hit the epic versions, just so we can show you those differences there. Alright, next to the door we do again have a small ambush. And there will be another one once we actually pull the valves. As you can see, there are 2 valves that we need to pull in order to progress. And what a lot of people don't realize is it actually works out to be 3 valves. So the first valve, once we get in the water here, is directly north of us in this little alcove. So this is the first valve. It lights up that blue crystal there. Now, to progress further, we actually have to swim underneath the ship. There's this little hole here. And we just keep swimming. We'll notice the ice they were mentioning before when we went to that other ladder. There can be a named creature, named enemy that does spawn in here. If there is, you'll notice that it does start with a little chest here. So if you do notice a chest, you'll notice that the method is actually a named method. Alright. So the second lever that you pull, that most people think is the final lever, is actually this one here. This one actually, as you see, is a red crystal, not the blue one that we need to open the door. So this one actually just sets a whole bunch of fire. Now, there is a safe spot. One is over where my hireling is. The other is actually standing directly on the lever itself. As you can see right here, it is also fairly safe. And all you need to do is just wait until the fire stops. And what it does is it just melts the ice there for us. Once that's done, swim down in the water. And what we'll notice here is to the left, we actually have our ladder. That's our way out. However, we want to swim down and just continue heading north a little bit. And we'll have our second valve. Again, there's our blue crystal. And they also bring up a prompt letting you know that the door is open. Alright, so as you can see, sometimes this does happen. The ice is supposed to completely vanish. However, the visual did stay here. That's why like some of these pieces are just down here. They're not actual ice. but the visual is still there. So that is just one of the bugs there in this game that sometimes occurs. Alright. So now all we got left is to head back to that main door here. Alright, as we can see, it's now open. And just inside is starting on that second ambush. Now, what a lot of people, myself included, do is we just drag them all to the end of the tunnel and throw up some crowd control. So there's 2 spots. Generally, I throw it up at that first turn and drag them back here. This helps to avoid anybody rubber banding, as if we drag too many too far from the start, they won't always make it to the bottom here. This way it just ensures that it's kind of a nice halfway point. However, you know, feel free to kill all of them just as you're progressing down. From here, you know, one more enemy to go. On both sides, you'll notice large groups of breakables. Obviously recommend grabbing them. And at this point, this should actually give you your ransack. Now, what's left, all that's left is you do need somebody with some sort of a range damage. Or, if you don't have that, you need somebody to be able to jump up top here. Now, that's fairly hard to do at this level. But if you can get someone to jump up here, you can just manually click to turn those levers. However, we can also shoot this style of lever, which will open up our door below us. Once in here, if we just follow this pipe, we come to a valve, pull this valve, and it moves this bit of ground, opening up our door here. After that, all we have left is an end boss. As we approach this door, it opens up. Once we approach a little bit further in, the door will also close, so make sure you wait for your entire party to come in before trying this boss, as he can be difficult there at level. Alright, and again, we're just going to rush in. I'm going to throw down my turret, and as we approach the treasure, that's when he spawns in. So for this one, we actually have a wheat. And I really enjoy the looks of these guys. It looks like they have like nails spiked through their eyes. Really is kind of a gory look for them, and I really do think that's kind of cool. As you can see, 21,000. So this is definitely where I normally go to get experience at this level range. There's just a vast amount of experience. Alright, as we can see, we do have 2 chests here. The one on the right is a locked chest, the trunk. Of course, you can unlock it and give yourself access to 2 end loot chests. Now, they technically can have named items come out of these quests. The heroic version, it's very limited. I definitely, on heroic, I don't recommend re-rolling the loot. On epic, this quest in particular can actually drop, and only in epic, it can actually drop the Cursed Blade of Jack Jibbers, which allows you to self-resurrect for 1 minute, which is real nice because you can use this item in like raids, for example, where normally you can't use like a resurrection cake. So in epic, this is definitely a quest that should be put on your farm list until you get that item. It's a very, very handy item to have, as you never know when you're gonna die. Of course, none of us plan on dying, but it does happen, and this gives us an extra minute of life to be able to run to a quest, or sorry, to a shrine, or complete a quest, or even if you have the ability to resurrect your allies there. Alright, so as you can see, we attempted to recall out. The bar went all the way across. We didn't get out. So that's another bug that can happen sometimes. What it is there's lag in the Slayer area, that it's just not yet registering that we've chosen to leave. As soon as that lag does clear up, it'll immediately start porting you out. Like you've already gone through that process, it'll immediately port you out. But anyway, guys, don't want to drag you through all that waiting. That is the end of our video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll continue off in the next video. Alright, have a good one all.